CD Projekt Red have officially released Cyberpunk 2077's first cinematic gameplay trailer, giving us insight into the new world of Night City and showcasing what we can expect from the game itself. So, in this video I am going to be going over what we learned from the short trailer to give us some idea of what mechanics and things we may and should see in the finished game, gathered from what we've been shown at E3. Right at the beginning of the trailer we get our first look at Night City's world map. Well, sort of. We get a glimpse of the underground train version of the world map, aka the Metro map. Now it's pretty clear to see that there are some main locations on this map written in capital white letters, which are Santo Domingo, Haywood, City Centre, Westbrook, Watson and the Orbital Airspace Center. The beginnings suggest that we will be able to take the train as a means of traversing the city to various locations within the world, including all the little smaller areas located within the main regions. And if we go back to the main areas titled on the map, the Orbital Airspace Center is definitely getting me questioning if we may possibly be able to go into space for a certain mission during the game. Since in the lore of Night City, Orbital Air is a company that transports cargo and passengers from Earth into orbit. We know in the lore of Night City, the book Cyberpunk 2077 takes heavy inspiration from that there are mega corporations and companies that basically run things, and are all competing in a power struggle for dominance and control over Night City. So it is safe to say that we will be bumping into quite a few powerful individual businessmen and women throughout our playthrough. Straight off the bat we also see that Cyberpunk 2077 is going to have so much verticality to its world, as we see tall buildings and even see higher areas populated with civilians, meaning in most cases we as the player should be able to access these areas, since we also spot elevators that suggest traversing vertically will be the norm, and buildings won't just be empty shells and will actually be explorable with various activities going on within them depending on the location. To me the world feels so alive, like an actual living breathing world, and really does give me a Watch Dogs 2 vibe if it was somehow merged with Killzone Shadowfall, as you see people going on about their daily lives without interaction from the player, doing various activities, walking around and actually conversing with one another. I also have to say the futuristic advertisements spread throughout the city just make the world so much more interesting and immersive, and I cannot wait to find those little Easter eggs I know CD Projekt Red are going to hide in plain sight throughout the game's in-game advertisements. During this next scene we managed to get a look at our first child NPC in a VR set playing video games. So first of all, this confirms there are going to be child NPCs within the game, as well as the possibility that we may just get to play a video game within a video game, something that I like to call in-gameception. Straight after we get our first look at a luxury flying vehicle that seems to be dropping off an important businesswoman. Now we know flying vehicles will be in Cyberpunk, although my question is, will we be able to fly any, or will we be given our own, which is the only one we can use throughout the game? Because I'd actually like to be able to steal that lady's ride, if you know what I mean. The Witcher 3 had brothels in game that I discovered on my conquest to become a Gwent master, and if you actually take a look in this same shot off into the distance there is a sign that says Love Hub, so it's probably not too hard to imagine what's going to take place there if you ever played The Witcher 3, and it's most certainly not a Gwent tournament. Moving on, it seems like escorts will also be a thing in the world of Cyberpunk, as you can see a guy in his car talking to two promiscuous looking women through his window, while two other women are beating up a guy just behind him. I mean, it's a scene that looks like it was taken straight out of GTA, but it does add so much realism to the world of Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk 2077 will also most likely have a few mini games within its world, and here within a bar we get our first look at a pool table that will probably be a way for our player to make a few extra bucks by winning. There is also a gym that looks quite cool, as I imagine that we may be able to build upon certain character stats here, as well as to practice combat skills against barring robots. The cab driver has to be my favourite part of the trailer, because in this futuristic world where almost everyone has robotic augmentations, he's still loyal to his culture and faith. Plus it also seems that even in the Cyberpunk world cab drivers are still Asian. Taking a moment to look in the back seat as well, we also see a full synth squad ready to cause some havoc. I imagine these guys may be an enemy type within Cyberpunk as hired guns or gang members, since all three of them do look quite uniform, meaning similar, and besides corporations, gangs also seem to run certain areas within Night City. Character customization has been said to be within Cyberpunk 2077, although it seems we get our first look at it during mid-game where we see a lady applying makeup in a digital mirror, with her jaw rested on a mantle, as we witness visual customization being showcased. So I believe this is telling us that we will be able to change our appearance during the game, whether that's as simple as hair, makeup and clothing, or actually changing our looks. We also get a look at some of the wealthier folk up in a penthouse among the skyscrapers that are most likely members of another corporation. So I mean, I imagine the game will do a good job of exploring poorer areas and how they live, as well as seeing the transition to richer and powerful areas and see the difference in lifestyles. If you remember the orbital air location location on the Metro map, we actually get a glimpse of what the area is going to look like. As you can see here in the background, the building says Orbital Air, so it's most likely their offices and bases of operation. Militech is another corporation in Cyberpunk who are responsible for creating and distributing advanced weaponry and tech. The mini robot we see in the trailer is one of their creations, and I'm pretty sure that we will be using a lot of their weapons throughout the game. Although this clip gets me excited for the hope of a Robot Wars minigame, and not actually using the Militech robot for serious reasons. It seems Night City is no stranger to celebrity status, as we see a chrome-like lady named Lizzie on a red carpet being adored by fans. This looks like it will be a unique mission to me where we will either have to help or do something devious to her. Whatever the case, I am sure Lizzie will be a key character somehow during the game. It's also apparent that guns are not that hard to get a hold of, as we see people from different class types more or less all armed with weapons. As we see this guy with his pregnant wife holding a modified shotgun, and two other guys holding up somebody they must be wanting to rob. We also get what looks to be our first look at the in-game emergency services trying to bring a guy back to life. In the next few scenes with the malfunctioning wires killing a couple of men, I feel as if hacking and sabotaging technology will play a part in Cyberpunk when it comes to trying to take out targets without causing suspicion, as it is clear to see that these guys are being taken out, and in the same scene if you look out the window it looks like we are in space, so maybe this character being assassinated is from the Orbital Air Corporation, and it looks like this further confirms that we will be able to go in space during the game. The second guy that is assassinated happens to be a part of the private security Japanese corporation Arasaka. We also managed to get a look at what seems to be our first look at a female character option, which again is possible since we are able to choose genders within Cyberpunk. While on the topic of characters, CD Projekt Red wrote this in their trailer description. You play as V, a hired gun on the rise who just got their first serious contract in a world of cyber enhanced street warriors, tech savvy net runners and corporate life hackers. Today is your first step of becoming an urban legend. This pretty much gives us a sense of who we are starting the game, although I am pretty sure who we will become will be entirely up to us. Now this scene gets me excited. I mean, it's enough we have flying vehicles, but to arm them and have a full-on battle with armed civilians with Militech weapons in the mid-level of a high-rise building is just incredible. And I imagine this must be some sort of police raid on people with illegal weaponry tech, maybe one of the gangs of Night City. Towards the end of the trailer we get a good look at this placeholder male character, as well as his car, which is giving me serious Knight Rider vibes. Although I'm not sure if the car is going to be like Roach or if we can actually drive or buy any car within the game. Next we see V drive off into the depths of the city, and we get one good last look at Night City and all its glory from a different perspective. So just when we think the trailer is over, it turns out good old CD Projekt Red hid a secret message to the players at the end. I myself didn't notice it at first, but thanks to people with very sharp eyes and whom had the sense to slow things down, we learned that CD Projekt Red currently don't have a release date, but is much closer to being finished than before, and were serious when they said it will only release when it's ready. The game is also going to be seriously big. How big exactly CD Projekt Red don't currently know, since they're still working on the game, but we can expect big to mean big nonetheless. They also say that there will be free DLC for Cyberpunk by stating we should expect nothing less, and that there will be no microtransactions within the game, and they actually quoted, "Are you nuts? It's a single player game." So it's safe to say Cyberpunk 2077 will be a true story driven single player RPG experience. Well, this is all the stuff I managed to learn from watching the trailer and doing a bit of lore research. As you can expect, there's probably a bunch of stuff I missed, although I think we learned enough from this short trailer about Cyberpunk to keep us content for a while. And it's definitely kept me curious to see how everything will actually play out and see if the speculated parts turn out to be true. Other than that, I'm played by Vix. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, take care, and I shall catch you guys in the next one.